I would like to talk on this subject of birth to no birth, death to no death, which has to do with the treasures of the Noble Path. And by Noble Path, we mean the Noble Eightfold Path. So I hope you think it is a catchy line, yeah, birth to no birth, death to no death. What does it actually mean? Yeah, this line. Why are we born? There was a very famous Dhamma teacher who was asked, why are we born? And he said, his disciples asked him, why are we born? And he said, we are born so that we do not have to be born anymore. Yeah, and then I've added this death. You know, we die so that we don't have to die anymore. And of course, yeah, this is a very lofty, you know, very high aiming ideal. Yeah, it looks at the higher levels of Dhamma study and practice. And you know, so there are times when we discuss the very normal worldly issues, which is very good because we are worldly people. But I feel there are times when we need to be reminded of the actual aims, yeah, and objectives of the Buddha's teachings. Why did the Buddha, yeah, attain this full enlightenment form? That is to see the truth, to see what is reality, and to be able to work towards the freedom from suffering, yeah, the freedom from dukkha. You know, this word also exists in the Malay language. It's not just a Pali word. I think somewhere in history, it was borrowed from the ancient Pali into the Malay language. And so there is also this word dukkha. And so we understand what dukkha is. You know, it is unpleasantness. And this unpleasantness, we can recognize it when it arises in us. Yeah, it arises as a kind of mind and body reaction, yeah, to what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, and what we feel through the body, as well as through our minds. It is an unpleasant experience. Yeah, and therefore, when we have these unpleasant reactions, as our experience, we do not like it. So the Buddha has given this a word. It's called Vedana. And in English, it's very loosely translated as feeling. But as you know, in the English language, feeling has very, very many translations, very many meanings. But here it means what we feel, especially in our heart and chest region, as the body and mind reaction to what we see, what we hear, all these sense impressions that come in. So every time we bring in something to our minds, we get this reaction. Sometimes we like it, sometimes we don't like it, yeah, because it is unpleasant. It is dukkha. We like it because it is sukha. Yeah, it is pleasant. And therefore, we go through our whole lives. Our entire lives is built around the chase for sukha feelings, and we run away, avoid dukkha feelings. It is our master. It is our overlord. And that means it is the controlling power or the controlling mechanism in our lives. Why do we eat nice things? It's because we want to experience sukha. Well, why do we run away from funeral parlors and hospitals that are treating COVID patients? It's because of dukkha, the feelings that we get. We get these feelings all the time, but we never actually examine it. We never look at it properly in the light of truth, with the light of Dhamma, to see that which is real. So when we come to such discussions and listen to what the Buddha taught, and of course, there are very great teachers that can teach the Dhamma very well. And we are like the supporting cast, the lay teachers and the lay preachers. We just support these great Dhamma teachers. We try to bring this to share with our Dhamma brothers and sisters as much as possible so that we are aware of it. And it doesn't mean that we are forever in the grasp of sukha and dukkha. Because with wisdom, we can be less controlled by sukha and dukkha in our lives. When we really examine it, why do we go to school? Why do we work so hard? Why do we study? Why do we go to college and university? Why do we get a good job? Which also, by the way, stresses us out. Why do we do all these things? Why do we buy a house? Why do we buy a car? Why do we buy insurance? So that we can be insulated, protected from the effects of dukkha, this feeling of unpleasantness in our lives. And we want to go and acquire more sukha, pleasant feelings. That's what it's all about. And you would know that for Chinese people, a great form of getting sukha is through food. Chinese people love food so much. And this is a great source, a great well we can dig in to get more and more sukha feelings. So when we understand this, then we need not be so much under their control. And we can examine and learn the teachings from the Noble Eightfold Path, rather than be controlled by our great search or the great escape from sukha and dukkha. So let me start my slide presentation. As I said, we are always searching. Our minds are always searching. When is the next big hit? When do I enjoy sukha more? And when, how can I run away from dukkha even more? So we are searching for it. And in the Buddha's teachings, his main offering to us is the ultimate sukha and the ultimate defeat of dukkha, that is no birth and no death, which we are actually talking about liberation. We are talking about freedom from being jailed. We are actually jailed by our search of sukha and our running away from dukkha. So we are searching. We are searching for different pathways in order to achieve this. And then when we achieve this, I put in the compass point in here. It's because we do not know where it is. In fact, the whole world is searching for this. I mean, if you take a look at those poor people in the Ukraine right now, what are they running away from? They are running away from being killed, and they are running away from danger. 3 million of them have left the country, and I suppose more and more would leave the country if they are able to. So they are running away from the dukkha that is present in their country due to the invasion by the Russians, So it's a very dangerous situation. And when we turn on our TV sets or we go online, we see death and we see destruction. We see pain and sorrow. People are crying, people are dying. Yeah, and it's not a good scenario. There is very little sukha in that country. There's a lot of dukkha in that country. So they are appealing, for help to lessen the dukkha that they are experiencing. So we are also like that. Some of us with a little bit of wisdom know that this is not enough. This everyday life of looking for things to enjoy and running away from the problems of our life, that's why we have weekends. Do you realize that weekends is an avoidance of dukkha? Yeah. And the weekdays to many people is diving into dukkha. So weekends are sukha for us. And I must say, dear Dhamma brothers and sisters, the very fact that you have joined this talk is very unusual, because not many people will see coming to listen to the Dhamma as a source of sukha. Yeah, you look around you, look at your family members, look at your friends, look at your relatives. If you invite them to come and listen to a Dhamma talk on a Sunday morning, how many of them would put up their hands and say, yes, this is my sukha? In fact, if they were to sit down and listen for 1 hour to a Dhamma talk on a Sunday morning, when they can go and have dim sum, and go and have some other type of breakfast, listening to a Dhamma talk for them is dukkha. It is dukkha for them. But for you wise ones, I pay my respects to you. You have come here to increase your sukha. Amazing. I really praise you. So I say this because I want to establish a kind of platform to examine the Noble Eightfold Path. But I don't want to do it the normal academic way. I want it to be related to our lives, to our search for happiness, to our reason for living our lives. So that maybe right now, it's not the time for you for intensive study and practice. But I hope somewhere along the line, depending on your responsibilities, you will go and look for more sukha in the Dhamma. And I will explain this a little bit more clearly as we go on to study the factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. I may not be able to finish everything on one Sunday morning. So I have been discussing with Brother Jiwa. Maybe, if I can't cover everything, I would be very happy and honored as well, to be invited back to finish the rest of my sharing. So we search for the truth. We search for the path. But how will we know the truth that will set us free? There are many people who are doing religious duties and religious activities on a Sunday morning. Not many, but there are a fair number. You can see those who will congregate, who will gather in churches, in temples, and other religious places, because in their own way, they are searching for the truth. So everybody thinks they have found the truth. But how do we really know it is the ultimate truth? The truth that sets us free, not the truth that binds us and traps us and imprisons us, but the truth, the real truth that sets us free. If it imprisons us in a very narrow way of thinking, it is my dear brothers and sisters, it is really not the truth. The truth really will let us feel liberated, will let us feel, the great amount of freedom. So this is an important question, yeah, that we have to look at. Now, we look at what the Buddha has to say. And he was approached by this man called Subhadda one day. And Subhadda went to see the Buddha. He sat to one side. He paid his respects first, and then he sat to one side. And then he asked the Buddha, "Venerable Sir, these Brahmins and contemplatives, yeah, they are spiritual people, each with his group, each with his community, each the teacher of his group, an honored leader, well regarded by the people at large." And he goes on to name the teachers that were alive when the Buddha was teaching. Yeah, people like Burana Kasyapa, Makali Gosala, yeah, etc., etc. The very famous one, Sanjaya Belattaputta and Niganta Nattaputta, all very, very famous teachers at that time. They were actually, leading very large groups of followers. But the Buddha also attracted many people. And so these teachers, they did not want to be outdone by the Buddha. So they also said, "I am enlightened, I am teaching you the right way," etc., etc. So Subhadda's words are like this. He asked the Buddha, "Do they all have direct knowledge as they themselves claim? Or do they all not have direct knowledge? Or do some of them have direct knowledge and some of them not?" So what is this direct knowledge? This direct knowledge is the great wisdom to be free of suffering. The way, to point out the way to be free of all this dukkha that we are experiencing in this world. Yeah, so he asked this to the Buddha. And most of these teachers would say, "Yes, I am teaching the right way. I have the right truth. The truth is coming out through me." Yeah. And the others, they have no truth. They are misled. They are false teachers. So now let us examine what the Buddha said as his reply. And the Blessed One said, "In any doctrine and discipline," yeah, that means the study and the practice, "where the Noble Eightfold Path is not found, no contemplative of the first, second, third, fourth order, that is Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arahant is found." So the Buddha did not say that he was the sole teacher of the noble truth, of the way to end dukkha, yeah, which brings us unpleasantness, pain, and sorrow, yeah, to our mind and body. He did not say immediately, "I am the great teacher, only I know the way." What he did was, he was objective, and he said, there is a formula, there is a strategy, there is a path. And wherever this path is found, it's not just me. Wherever it is that you can find this path, this way of study and practice, you can find the enlightened people. Then he goes on, "But in any doctrine and discipline, where the Noble Eightfold Path is found," first of all, if it is not found, you cannot find enlightened people. But where you find the Noble Eightfold Path, you can find, yeah, contemplatives of the first attainment, second attainment, third attainment, and the final attainment are found. The Noble Eightfold Path is found in this doctrine and discipline. And right here, there are contemplatives. So he said, "I am now teaching the Noble Eightfold Path, which does not belong to me, by the way. It's not something that I originated, yeah, that I created and then sell it, market it to the world. The Buddha did not say that. The Buddha merely said, there is this path. It's not my path. I didn't originate it, but I discovered it. I saw it and I understood it. And having understood it, I share it with the world. So he was very objective about that, about how he introduced the Noble Eightfold Path. He never claimed sole ownership, copyright. Nowadays, we like to copyright our things. We go to the copyright office and say, I have originated this. Nobody else must use it unless they pay me some royalty fees, etc., etc. The Buddha never said that. He knew that there is a way, and this way, it was not originated by him, but he found it. This way came through the existence of the universe. The universe has an SOP. Just like now, we have to follow SOPs. The universe comes with an SOP. It's built in. It is the operating system of the universe. So people do not understand how to be happy in this universe because they are following their own natural instincts. And sometimes, many of us actually, we experience some happiness, but the happiness doesn't last. So we are disappointed. And then we go again to look for a new hit, a new round of happiness. And when that happiness goes off, we go again to look for another round, another experience that gives us sukha. So the Buddha said, there is a way we can have permanent sukha, permanent awakening. When we awaken, the sukha doesn't go off. It stays with us. So the Buddha further explains, other teachings are empty of knowledgeable contemplatives. He did not name this and this and this, so and so and so. They do not teach the right way. He just said, you go and look at what they are teaching. Examine what they are teaching. Analyze what they are teaching. If they teach the Noble Eightfold Path, no problem. They are like me and I am like them because we are teaching the same path. So he opened it up. He was not selfish. He didn't want to own the Noble Eightfold Path. But he made a declaration, which some people will say, oh, that means the Buddha indirectly says he is the only one who knows. No, that is not the case, because the Buddha has had no ego. He was not trying to, bring himself up. He just wanted to tell the truth that if you find the Noble Eightfold Path anywhere, taught by anyone, that person must be a great teacher. And you can follow that teacher. But make sure it is actually the Noble Eightfold Path, supported, brought about by the Four Noble Truths, because the Four Noble Truths is actually leading to the Noble Eightfold Path, right? And if the monks, he says, the monks, whoever are walking this path, they dwell rightly, they practice what they have been taught, this world will not be free of arahants. So there are Buddhists who ask, are there any arahants left in this world? 2,600 years after the Buddha's passing, can we really find arahants? Are arahants mythical creatures, mythical people belonging to some very, very mystical world? The Buddha gives this advice. Are we able actually to find people walking committedly, wholeheartedly the Noble Eightfold Path? And if we can be sure that this world will never be empty of arahants. That is the answer we can give to people who ask. Where are the arahants? I don't think there are any more arahants in this world. Tell them this. If there are people walking the path, there will always be either Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and the arahants. We can rest assured because that's what the Buddha said in the Parinibbana Sutta. Now, what is the benefit? Walking the path brings one closer towards the seeing of reality. It is like, I will try to give you an example. In our life, we are like people in a cinema watching a movie. We watch this screen in front of us, which is the result of the projected light and the sound system. So we look at the screen and we listen to the sound. And for that moment, we are in the cinema. This is life. It's real to us. We go and see these great movies, the entertainment, and when the thing starts, the lights of the cinema go down, becomes dark. We take a look at the picture, we take a look at the sound. It is reality. It's real to us, even if it is like superhero or horror. In horror films, the ghost is very, very real. The demon is very, very real. And people, try to watch through their fingers, over or not, over or not. Why do they pay money to get scared? And it is, if it's a love story, the love between the hero, the leading man, and the leading lady, it's real. We share it. We feel the love. And maybe the love, they cannot come together. We feel their sadness, their dukkha. And when they come together, finally, hopefully, we feel their sukha as well. We share all these things that are projected on the screen. And some time, some moment, some clever person will realize, hey, this is only a projection. And then he will stand up and look at the projection room. There is a small box where the wall is through the wall where they are projecting this image. And then he realizes, this is not real. It's only a movie. And then he makes the effort to stop believing and leave the cinema to the real world, to that which is absolutely true. So we are like that. We are living in the cinema of our existence. We think what we see is real. We think what we touch is real. What we hear is real. What we imagine also is real. But then some very wise people do escape that cycle of illusion. We, of course, we try our best, but the realization must be there that this is not real. Only walking the Noble Eightfold Path brings us to reality. That's why it is a different path. It is not the path to just enjoy some environment, or some other world like heaven and paradise. It is waking up to the reality of our existence. So we look at the Four Noble Truths. That, I said, is the platform for the Noble Eightfold Path, because the Noble Eightfold Path is also included in it. So the Noble Truths are, there is suffering, there is dukkha. We can't close our eyes to it. The Buddha also explained the cause of dukkha, and he told us dukkha can end. And then he presented to us the path leading to the end of dukkha, all in one complete package. But it's not easy to accept, not easy to understand. because understanding it is to see that we are in a cinema watching a movie, and we think the movie is real. Accepting and understanding the Four Noble Truths is standing up in that cinema, yeah, and looking for where's the exit, yeah, in this cinema hall. That's what the Four Noble Truths does. It awakens us to what we should be understanding. So the Noble Eightfold Path, yeah, which is the pathway for us after in that cinema hall, we have stood up, we realize where we are, we need to head for the exit. And the path where we are going to walk to the exit and get out of the cinema is the Noble Eightfold Path. That's the way it goes. You know, that's how I understand it. The way to get out of the illusion, you know, that fills our mind. So what is this Noble Eightfold Path? This Noble Eightfold Path, and I learned this as a young boy in the Sunday Dhamma school. Yeah, I recite this by heart. For many years, I could recite it by heart, but I could not really understand it. Yeah, it's only in later life when I took the study and the practice more seriously, then it started to really make sense to me. But when I went to the Sunday Dhamma school as a young boy, I couldn't understand, yeah, all of it. I mean, my teacher was really good, yeah, and he presented it very well, but I could not really make sense of it. I mean, now I don't 100% make sense of it. I can understand it better, yeah, which is why I feel it's important to present it to other Dhamma brothers and sisters. So it's right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Right for what? We use this word samma. Yeah, like the first one, samma ditti, right view. And right thought, samma sankappa. What is it right for? It is right for overcoming dukkha and experiencing, achieving the ultimate sukha, happiness, lightness, liberation. It is not right if you want to make money. It is not right if you want to go into the world and build an financial empire. This path, this formula, yeah, is not right for that. It is only right for those people who want to leave the cinema of illusion. It's only right for that, to wake up, you know, because this word Buddh means to wake up. Buddha means the person who woke up, who has awakened, Buddha. So we are, what are we? Buddhists. Buddhists are people who should be waking up as well, right? So that's the way, yeah, we should approach the Noble Eightfold Path. And we'll look more at this in detail. There are 3 levels of training, which the teachers have categorized. There is the first one, although it is put in this order, it is not exclusively need to follow this. The first one is sila, right in the middle, which involves right speech, right action, and right livelihood. And sila leads to samadhi. Samadhi is the training of the mind in order to calm ourselves down, sharpen our mind in order to see reality. So that's right effort, right mindfulness, and right, normally they say right concentration, but I've learned from Venerable Agachitta, it is right mental composure. The composed mind is the better interpretation of Samma Samadhi, which brings us back to Panya, right view and right thought. To start on this path, we need to have some Panya anyway. We really do. Because without Panya, you will not be here today. we need the panya. So with panya, we recognize that we are short of sukha and very heavy on dukkha. So let us turn it the other way around. We can be heavy on sukha and shorter on dukkha. So that is the panya that starts us. And when we have the starting panya, we go and improve our sila, we cultivate the samadhi, and we come back to panya again. So that's why we always say Noble Eightfold Path is sila, samadhi, and panya. But we have panya as the starting point and panya as also the ending point. So let's examine right view. I would like to concentrate, if I can, in the time I have, on just two factors, right view, and right thought. And the rest of it, if I am able to, I would like to return and cover the rest. Right view is the forerunner. It is the starting point. It is the guide for the other factors. If we don't have right view, we would not come and join today's talk. We would not frequent such web sharing, the sharings that we get over today's Zoom or here or any other Buddhist organization. Those who don't have right view, as I said, they will run away as fast as their legs can carry them away from a Dhamma talk to do other things. But if you have right view in your mind, you don't mind. You would commit the time. You would use the time more beneficially to your advantage. Right view provides the scope. So we know that we have dukkha and we would like to increase the sukha. It gives us the perspective for study and practice. And the practice of the Noble Eightfold Path starts with right view and leads us to a truer and more superior, I say more superior type of right view. It is a more wholesome and more lofty right view. I'll explain that. So right view, as explained by the Buddha in this sutta, the Buddha said, why it is so important. He said, because there is no single factor so responsible for the arising of unwholesome states of mind as wrong view. Wrong view in Pali is miccha ditti. Right view is sama ditti. Sama means right. It means the way to advance. And miccha is the holding back, no advancement in the wrong view. And no factor so helpful for the arising of wholesome states of mind as right view. So if we want to train our mind, we must have right view and keep away from wrong view. Again, the Buddha said, there is no single factor so responsible for the suffering of living beings as wrong view, and no factor so potent in promoting the good of living beings as right view. So I'll try to explain it with this picture. We can see this picture, although it's not clear. There are moving bodies, there are moving elements. So some we can see clear, some we cannot see clear. But on the whole, we know what this is. There are stairs, there are people, and people are moving. We can recognize what this scene is. We have some kind of right view, looking at this. But if we have wrong view, we are not able to see things clearly. And it becomes more and more distorted if we embark on wrong view until it becomes like this. So our view of the world becomes more and more unclear and distorted, wrong way, a wrong picture with wrong view. That's why it's so dangerous, to believe things that take you down, that takes us down the wrong path to hurting other people, to saying things that are not right, to thinking thoughts that helps us to plan, that makes us plan to hurt other people. That is due to our wrong view. And when it gets really blur like this, we are disconnected from reality. We only live in our own world that we think is the right view. And people can become extremists if they are disconnected from the world. The world thrives. The world operates on rationality, logic, on good behavior. But if you see the world like this picture, can you see what it is? I can't see very clearly, and I produce this picture. We can be far away from that which helps the world. And we can initiate, we can do things, we can act in ways that hurts other people and produce more dukkha if we see things, the world, with wrong view. That is why it is so dangerous to have wrong view in our mind, because we are open to disturbing and hurting others. We are not really walking the path to promoting, increasing other people's sukha, but giving them more dukkha. You see this, what is happening now in the world. When there is dukkha, there is wrong views a lot. So, as I said, right view enables us to understand our starting point. Without right view, we can get lost. So we must hang on to the right view that we already have and enlarge and grow it. There are two types of right view. One is the normal worldly right view, and the other is unworldly right view, which is supra-mundane right view. So one is the right view of those who are not enlightened, called Putujana, and the other is the right view of those who are enlightened, called Arya. The Noble Eightfold Path is called Arya Attangika Magga. Arya means noble. Attangika means eightfold. And Magga means it's the path. So some of us who are not enlightened, most of us who are not enlightened, we hold the mundane right view. But if we are able to see the realities around us, we will hold supramundane right view. Right? So as I've explained, that which accords with the truth, it's a conceptual right view actually. It's what we imagine is right view. But the other type is experiential right view. Because the people who have this, they have experienced liberation. And they know Nibbana is true. Nibbana is not a myth. Nibbana is not fantasy. Nibbana can be experienced in this very life. So their right view really, belongs to the Noble Eightfold Path. Let me go a little bit further. Right view means the understanding of these things, the understanding of the Four Noble Truths, the understanding of the three characteristics of anicca, dukkha, anatta, and also the law of karma. So the Four Noble Truths, what do? We have to understand suffering. We have to abandon the cause, which is craving or the defilements. We have to realize, obtain for ourselves the end of craving, the end of suffering, and we follow the path to achieve this end of suffering. So wrong view is that everything is permanent, everything is beautifully sukha, everything is controlled by us. But when we look closely, we cannot control many things in our life, such as even our mind and our body. We cannot control it. We think we do, we are able to, but we cannot. If our body falls sick with COVID, Yeah. Can we tell the body, expel the COVID virus straight away and don't be sick? No, it doesn't listen to us. It doesn't behave that way. So in actual fact, this body is a mess of natural elements that doesn't listen to us, not controllable. So it belongs to nature, but we think it is ours. So we try to beautify, try to stay young as long as possible. Now, we move on to right thought because it's important also to understand what it is. Right thought can also be described, this Samma Sankappa can be described as right intention or right motivation. And it focuses on how this person with the right way of thinking, the right perspective, right view gives this person the right intentions. The view means you can see, the right intention means you can do. You want to do it. You have the intention to walk the path now motivates you. So in order to walk the path, we have to get rid of wrong and immoral intentions. And due to right view, we develop right intention. So one of the things which is important when we have right view is knowing right intention, wrong intentions, and what are they? Yeah. So these intentions are important because every single action that we take in our life involves an intention. If we have no intention, then we do not even carry out small action. We have a choice about the intention. So here it is. We have to understand, and then we make the right decision about intentions. So what is right intention? Right intention is to walk the path guided by this word renunciation. When we hear the word renunciation, we know it's good. Yeah, to renounce this and that is good. But we know, hey, it's no fun. Renunciation is not for me. I would like to stay and enjoy more and more worldly sukha. But this is not what it actually means deep down. We can have people who look as though they have renounced. They might shave their hair and they wear the appropriate robes, but they might not have renounced. And there are people who wear ordinary clothes. In the mind, they have renounced. Meaning to say, they are not so involved in feeding the ego, the I that we have created. We are able to let go things and only live with things that are basic and can help us to survive. We don't need really to live in a mansion. We just live in a modest house, eat modest food. We will not starve, but it's modest. So that's important. That is the meaning also of renunciation. To be also able to give things away easily, such as charity. That is renunciation. And also to renounce the bad habits, such as anger and hatred and ill will and jealousy, things that cloud our mind. We should renounce them. So renunciation is not outwards, exterior, external renunciation. It is what you want to let go in your mind that is unwholesome, does not bring sukha, but actually brings dukkha. So there is next the intention of loving kindness, to see other beings with kindness and benevolence and goodwill. Because the opposite of this is to have a heart of anger, of enmity, want to hurt others. And you can see what's happening in Ukraine. Because one man wants to hurt others, he has brought in all his resources to do so. No matter what he wants, it can be negotiated without having to destroy and kill others. So there is no loving kindness there. He has not renounced his unwholesomeness, this person in charge. The next one is even more interesting. It is the intention of harmlessness, not to hurt others. So when we look closely, we understand why they are important practices to walk the path. You know, as we walk the path, we don't want to hurt ourselves. We don't want to hurt others. Because if we do so, how can we advance? How can we progress along this path? So we must have the right kind of mindset of renunciation, of loving kindness, of being friendly and kind to others, and of harmlessness. Don't want to cause any hurt to others, which is supported by the mindset of compassion. When we have these, we can walk the path easily. When these are absent, we cannot walk the path smoothly. So, yeah, as I've said, the counters, the opposites, the intention of renunciation counters desire, wanting more and more. When we already have enough, we want more and more. 1 million not enough, I want to have 10 million. 10 million not enough, I want 100 million. So the greed in us prevents us from renouncing. Yeah, we can just give away whatever can help others, and we just keep what is enough for ourselves. Yeah, don't have to stress ourselves constantly just to have more and more and more, or better and better things in our life. We can get by, we can survive. Then there is goodwill, which is the opposite of aversion, and harmlessness, which counters harmfulness, yeah, counters destruction and bringing dukkha onto other people. So the minute, and this is an important point, the moment we commit to the Noble Eightfold Path, the factors of right view and right intention, right thought, starts to counter, to bring down, to weaken the three unwholesome roots. Yeah, and the three unwholesome roots are greed, anger, and delusion. Lobha, dosa, and moha. The minute we say, I am walking this path, I commit myself, yeah, I really want to walk this path. Right view and right thought combine. It just naturally combines to lessen our greed, lessen our anger, lessen our delusion. But we must make that first step, you know, of committed effort to walking the Noble Eightfold Path. So as I said, there are three types of renunciation. Outward renunciation, we can see. There's inward renunciation that we can understand. And there is the ultimate renunciation, which is the renouncing of the self, of the ego. That is not easy to do. But as the Buddha said, those who walk the Noble Eightfold Path can do it. So renunciation actually means non-addiction. So we can see it in this way. A lot of us are addicted to very many things. Some of the things we can touch, some things we cannot touch. So we have to be careful, you know, whether we indulge so much, it becomes an addiction. So actually, renunciation means not having. So some people are addicted to doing certain things that they don't think of anything else. When I was teaching, I had students who were addicted to playing computer games. They don't eat, they don't sleep, they just play the computer games to get to the next level, to finish, you know, that game. And they never came to class. The parents are paying fees for this kid, you know, to learn something, but he never appears. And every time I take the attendance, 0, 0, 0, and eventually I have to tell the parents, and the parents discover all this kid is doing is playing computer games. You know, when they are paying is not cheap, the fees that we are charging, he's just wasting his time and the parents' money. So we saw it as an addiction. So addiction means you are not doing the things that benefit you. So goodwill and loving kindness is very important. Yeah, I'm sure many of you, Dhamma brothers and sisters, understand this well. Yeah, and we use mindfulness. Mindfulness is very important. There is right mindfulness, but which is down the line. It doesn't mean we have to wait until we perfect everything. We can start practicing mindfulness straight away, right? Harmlessness, we don't harm others, we let others go on in their lives, yeah, and we develop compassion. So compassion is the willingness to open up ourselves to our own suffering. We recognize our own dukkha and the suffering of others, but with wisdom. So I will end here with this slide, yeah, and hopefully find the opportunity to continue. When we do wrong things, these two states appear in our mind. If these two states don't appear, we cannot do wrong things. We cannot hurt or harm other people. These two states are called ahiri and anotapa. Ahiri means fearlessness. When somebody tells us this thing is wrong, you said, I'm not afraid. You want to catch me, you catch me. Yeah. You want to arrest me, go ahead. There is that kind of fearlessness in the wrong way. I'm not afraid to do it. I'm not afraid to take a gun, and shoot others. I'm not afraid to destroy with a bomb other people's property, as long together with other people. Yeah. So there is a fearlessness. They are so brave to do these type of things. There is another mind state that must appear to encourage us to do wrong things. This state is very interesting. It's called anotapa. Anotapa means shamelessness or recklessness. In our mind, sometimes we feel shameful, but the shame that appears, it's like this. I don't think I can do it because it's not nice. Yeah, I hurt other people. Then the anotapa will appear and say, you can do it. Don't be so weak. Do it. Yeah, and then see the effects of doing it. There's a kind of, I don't care. I couldn't be bothered. There is a recklessness that counters the shameful thought. So if we are brought up, we understand the Dhamma, we are brought up in the right way, we study and understand precepts, we find it hard to break it. But if we have recklessness, I don't care, I just want to do it, it can overcome our fear and shame. So these two unwholesome states are there. If we want to counter, it is able to lead us to countering the right things to do, which is identified, which must be identified by right view, and right thought. These two work hand in hand. If we have right thought, if we have right view, we also have right thought. If we have right thought, we also have right view. So allow me now to just stop at this point. We hopefully will find time to continue. Thank you for your kind attention. I hand you back to the MC.
All right, thanks, Brother Siang Chye, for the very informative talk. I think everybody has enjoyed a different perspective today. Right, I think we are open for a few questions right now, so Brother Siang Chye can answer it. I have a couple on my side here. Okay, the first one is, we know very frequently the three roots, evil roots for our minds. What are the causes of our defilements? Can you explain this, Pancha Kilesa?
Yes, these three roots are very deep-seated. They come with our existence. As long as we come back to samsara, which we, it seems to be the norm for many of us. As long as we exist in samsara, there is lobha, moha, dosa. To me, it seems to be an ingredient for existence. So as long as we exist, we will have it. When we don't have it, we will not exist. Meaning to say, we will let go the suffering, and we will have a permanent sukha, which is nibbana. Nibbana is where, the greed, the hatred, and the delusion does not exist. It cannot go. It cannot follow, the achievement, the effort to go and experience nibbana. Because actually, if these three things exist, the three defilements exist, if they have a hold on us, specifically our mind, there is no nibbana. Nibbana means these don't exist. And while we are in the samsara, these three things exist. So we have to work out the rationale. We have to work out the logical structures. Structures to understand this. And understanding it is actually panya. It is wisdom. So how do we work towards defeating and destroying the greed, the hatred, and the delusion? It is through practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. The Buddha said, you need to practice. When we say to other Buddhists, please practice. Practice what? We never clarify. In actual fact, practice is the Noble Eightfold Path. We study. What do we study? We study the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths are the theory. They are the intellectual structures for us to understand. And the practice is the practice of the Noble Eightfold Path. So these two actually go together. When we understand suffering, the cause of suffering, the end of suffering, we want to end the suffering. This is what we practice. So we have the two aspects. It's not just study, listen. We have to put it into practice. The Buddha's teaching, I think, is like taking swimming lessons. I'm not sure how many of you have taken swimming lessons. Why do you take swimming lessons? You take swimming lessons in order to swim. You don't take swimming lessons to write about swimming. You don't take swimming lessons to identify, oh, he is swimming the freestyle, he is swimming the breaststroke, he is swimming the butterfly or the backstroke. On TV, when you watch Olympics, you don't take swimming lessons for that reason. You take swimming lessons to go into the pool, to go into the sea, to go into the river and swim. So the Buddhist teachings are actually practical. It's meant for us to practice, put into action rather than just study. There are PhDs holders in Buddhism, in Buddhist studies. People study it until the PhD. So you would think if they know so much about the Buddha's teachings, they would be enlightened, but they are not. There was one Dhamma teacher who said when he was young, he went and attended a course where the professor in Buddhist studies will give lectures. And then after that, he would speak privately to this professor. He said, Professor, how do I gain enlightenment? How do I overcome the dukkha? And the professor said, hey, I only teach it. I don't practice it. I only understand it from an academic point of view. If you want to overcome suffering, if you want to attain nibbana, you go somewhere else. I only come here to lecture. So that was the scope. But he has a PhD in Buddhist studies, but he doesn't know how to practice. So to me, it's a waste of time and effort. Yeah, you must study and you must practice. So the more we practice the Noble Eightfold Path, the more we will control, yeah, the greed, the hatred, and the delusion. The Noble Eightfold Path allows us to negotiate, allows us to manage the defilements. And eventually, Noble Eightfold Path allows us to cut the defilements away from our mind. Not unless you are very exceptional, and there are some people attain the arahantship straight away. Yeah, those are very, very, very exceptional. We will do it in stages. Yeah, most beings will go through Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and then only gain the arahant level. Yeah. So we do it in stages, and we practice as much as we can the Noble Eightfold Path, which is right, as I mentioned, yeah, right view, right thought, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and concentration. I need to say this. Some people suppress their defilements. And when you suppress anything, that means you push it down, you will have an explosion. So there are some people, yeah, who are religious people, they try to control their sexual urges. Because they are religious, they cannot have sex. So they control the sexual urges without understanding it, without mindfully managing it. So eventually, these urges will explode, and this person cannot control himself or herself anymore. That's not the way to work on the defilements. The way to work on the defilements are to understand it, yeah, to see it, and to practice the mindfulness and concentration so that we can work and understand it. Yeah, I hope that is an acceptable answer, yeah, to you.
Right. I think that's pretty good. I have another question here. Can we say that in summary, understanding the right view is actually the gateway to know the Four Noble Truths? Any thoughts on this, Brother Siang Chye?
Right view is a result of understanding the Four Noble Truths. But it is also what you're saying is right. Yeah, we cannot understand the Four Noble Truths immediately. We understand a little bit of it, and then we develop more right view, and then we understand more and more of it. This I am telling you from my personal experience. You know, like you know, I went to the Sunday Dhamma school at a very young age. When I was about 12, you know, I was taken to the Vihara, and I was put in the Sunday Dhamma school. I had a great time. I enjoyed learning from the teachers in the Sunday Dhamma school. Yeah, our principal at that time was the Venerable H. Gunaratana. Yeah, he was actually quite strict, but very, very warm and nice to us. So I learned and I took the exams for Buddhists, young Buddhists. It was in my mind. I understood and I could recite and I could write about it. But it was only when I became more mature, yeah, that is around my 40s, I think, 40s, when I began to study even more deeply, when I began to practice right mindfulness and right concentration, the mind began to open up the understanding of the Four Noble Truths even more. Yeah. And I could see the nature of suffering. Sometimes, you know, when I gave a talk many years ago, there was this young man who stood up. I was talking about Four Noble Truths, suffering, and he stood up and said, "Excuse me, I don't understand what you're talking about. I am not suffering. I'm young, I'm healthy, yeah, I'm studying overseas. I enjoy my study overseas. I have no problems. I don't understand what you're talking about." And I told him, yes, it's true. You're very good. I'm very happy for you. And the reason why you are not suffering, you are studying overseas, is because your parents are suffering you to work to put you through your studies overseas. So there is suffering, but it's not yours. It's somebody else's. You're somebody who loves you and who are responsible for you are suffering so that you can do what you want to do without any suffering. But eventually, I also told him, as your body ages, you will understand what I'm talking about, because nobody is free from suffering. Yeah, you can be enjoying sukha for some time. Yes, it's true. You can enjoy it, but eventually it catches up with you. So we will encounter old age, we will encounter disease, and at some point in our life, we will encounter death as well. So that's why we are studying and we are practicing, so that there is no more death, yeah, in our scope of existence. Nibbana means there is no more dying. Yeah. So this we can understand. Yeah. Nibbana is not easy to understand because it is not a theoretical concept. It is only when you work and you experience it, yeah, you work hard, you walk the Noble Eightfold Path, then only we experience it. And as I suspect, it's only my theory, there are many who have experienced Nibbana who really practice hard. And you can find them in the meditation centers, in the Buddhist centers, where they are really practicing for it. Yeah, thank you.